Hello everybody, this is the practice number 1 from Unit 2 of Analog Electronics. In this practice we are going to use a half-wave rectifier. Here we connect the transformer terminals to the circuit. On the screen we see the simulation with the diode in forward and reverse polarity, and the result of the wave we get, which is what we look for on the oscilloscope. Here we can see the result with a wave that is the same as the one in the simulation. Next, we move to the practice number 2. In this practice, we want to make a full wave rectifier using a diode bridge. Here we can see the simulation and the wave results. We see how the full circle is used and not only one half circle like in the previous practice. Unfortunately, we could not display the wave on your oscilloscope, but here is now we turn an AC wave into DC wave. We keep doing the test. Now we add your capacitor and connect it again to the transformer. We check it, and as I mentioned, we were not able to adjust the oscilloscope. Sorry. We move on the practice number 3. Here we are going to take measurements on the center diode in forward polarity. We check the center voltage, the voltage on the center resistor, and the current of the center diode. On screen we can see the simulation results and the graph with the calculation we made. During the measurement there was some difference. This is normally happens when comparing results from an ideal circuit to a real one. We change the voltage as the practice asks. $10 and measurement. And 12 volts. Now we reverse the polarity of the center diode. We check that the center diode is in the correct position. On the screen we see the calculations and the simulation to compare the results. We start with the current and then lower the voltage as the practice asked. Now we 8 volts. And continue like this until we reach 2 volts. Now we check the voltage going from 2 volts to 12 volts. Here is the result on the multimeter, and we compare it with the calculations. Then we go to 10 volts and finish at 12 volts. Then we measure the current again, go down to 8 volts and finish at 2 volts. Now we move to the potentiometer part. We see the simulator circuits on the screen. Here the potentiometer is open. Then we close it. We measure the voltage in the diode. Now we change to 10 volts. We adjust the potentiometer again and measure the center diode. Then we open, and that is these are the all measurements required on the practice. Practice number 4. Here we are going to use a transistor as a switch. On the screen we can see the diagram and the simulation. We also see the results from the real circuit and the simulation at the same time. Now we change the resistors to see what effects or variations we create in the pulse that the LED receives. We change the frequency. At the same time, we can see on the screen the simulating calculation results of the components in the circuit. Then we remove the function generator. We continue changing the resistors. We see that the pulse intensity change with the frequency of function generator. Here we see the simulating calculation result of the components in the real circuit. We can see that the pulse intensity changes depending on the frequency. Practice number 5. Here we are basically going to make a measurement as a table on the screen asks, and then determine or calculate the state of the transistor. In this case, we concluded that it was in saturation. Here we can see the beta value in milliamperes. Now we change some values and add resistor to the circuit, and we continue with the measurement. At the same time, we can see the diagram and the simulation. We use a wire for connection to measurement the current. We kept taking measurements. Here we see the results of the multimeter, and then we connect it again. Here we see the beta value in milliamp, and with this we finish the practice for unit number 2. Thank you.